The teaser for the newest Star Wars film dropped over the weekend. Plus, I'll do my best to give you my mostly positive thoughts on this season's premiere of Game of Thrones. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
It's a me,
Dario!
Woohoo! Let's go!
Big news! Since the last episode, the podcast is now officially on SoundCloud and YouTube. You can find it by typing in Super Dario World Podcast on the search bar. And I'm working on getting it on iTunes and the iHeartRadio apps as well. So I'll keep you posted on that, and hopefully it'll happen soon. As always, please add me on social media. You can find me on Instagram at Dario the Show. You can always contact me there with any comments, questions, or suggestions. The feedback has been great so far. You guys have great ideas, and I will continue to shamelessly steal them as I continue to develop the show. So thank you for that. Okay, let's get started. The teaser trailer for the newest Star Wars film was released last Friday. And if you haven't watched it yet, I highly recommend that you do. Otherwise, this segment might not make much sense, and there may be some tiny spoilers up ahead, so fair warning. This movie marks the 11th entry in the Star Wars universe, if you count Rogue One and Solo, but it is the 9th and supposedly final episode in the Skywalker saga. Now, I can admit that after watching The Last Jedi, I had very, very little excitement over this movie, because I was left with nothing to look forward to, really, and that was one of my biggest critiques of The Last Jedi. But later on, when they announced that J.J. Abrams was coming back, J.J. Abrams, who directed Episode 7, The Force Awakens, he was coming back to direct the final movie, I was a little bit more intrigued, because I trust J.J. He's a big Star Wars fan. I have some issues with The Force Awakens as well, but mostly, I like J.J., I like his work. And now, after watching the first teaser trailer, I am officially excited for it. Now, this is a little bit embarrassing for me to admit, but after watching the teaser for the first time, I kind of had I was too excited, and I had some issues formulating a coherent thought. See, can't even say it right now. But I actually ran out of the studio. Oh, a little background on me. I work for the morning show of a radio station called Rock 105.3. The show's named The Show. And the host of the show, Eddie, is the biggest Star Wars nerd out there. Nobody loves Star Wars as much as he does. Now, there might be people that know more because they know the extended universe, but nobody loves it more than Eddie. It is impressive. I consider myself well-versed in the Star Wars universe. I consider myself a fanboy, actually, and Eddie impresses even me. I have no idea how he knows so much, so I would never challenge him for the Star Wars crown. He has it. He's earned it. I have no idea how many times he's watched the movies, but it's probably more times than I've seen any other movie all combined, and I'm not even kidding. Anyway, so after the show, I was working here on the podcast, trying to do a good job on it and stuff. And Eddie walks up to the studio and is like, dude, have you seen the teaser yet? They dropped it because we've been waiting all morning for it. And so I watch it, and immediately I run out of the studio to try to catch him in the hallway of the building. And I'm so excited that I forgot Kylo Ren's name. I could not remember Sidion's name. I could not remember anything. I was just excitedly trying to get 100 words out at the same time. And Eddie was just there yes, right, right, exactly. JJ, man, he's doing it. So I was hyped. Now, I watched it a few times. I analyzed it a little bit, and here are the things that I enjoyed the most. For starters, I love the title. The title is Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. And this is one of my favorite things ever because it is J.J. Abrams giving the finger to Rian Johnson, the director of The Last Jedi. Because at the end of The Force Awakens, J.J. had developed so much. Everybody was hyped because there was a lot of intrigue and speculation into who Rey's parents are. Why was she abandoned on a planet? Who the hell is Snoke? Who are the Knights of Ren? And so there was all this buildup. And in The Last Jedi, Rian Johnson decided, you know what? Nope. I don't care about any of this. I'm going to do my own thing. So screw you, JJ. So I love that JJ is getting the opportunity to actually fix what Rian Johnson tried to mess up, and that he's just giving him the bird. Straight out of the gates, he's telling all the fans of the movies, you know what? I am fixing this garbage. I'm steering the boat back in the right direction. Trust me. I got your back, fans. It's also important to note that JJ has a long history of stories being taken away from him. Well, not necessarily taken away, but sometimes he leaves projects before he gets to finish them. And there's actually a big thing going around the internet that JJ has never really finished any of his stories. And for example, he's developed a bunch of shows. He created Felicity, he created Alias, he created Fringe, and most famously Lost. And so all those projects he left before they were finished. Now, in the case of Lost, it's because of the writer's strike, and that kind of messed everything up, and that's why towards the later seasons, the show kind of went down. But the point is, JJ has never been given the chance to finish the stories, and it looked like this was going to happen with Star Wars as well. So I was very happy when he came back. Honestly, the dude is great at setting things up. Now I'd like to see how he closes. He's a great opener. Now it's time to give him a chance to show his ability to close. So I'm excited, and I believe he's earned it. Also, the title kind of raises the question again of who Rey's parents are, and is she a Skywalker? Because who else is it going to be? I told Eddie that I thought maybe it was Kylo Ren, but, I mean, his argument is that he's a Solo, so it doesn't really count. He might have Skywalker blood, but it wouldn't make sense. So, we don't know. The point is, speculation is out there again, and it's exciting. There's a mystery out there. There's something that fans can look forward to. Another big thing that I liked is that they showed the return of Lando. Now, I'm a bit worried about it because most of the original cast, when they return, at least the male ones, die in that movie, so I don't want Lando to die yet. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for him. I hope he makes it, but it'll be interesting to see what he's done up to this point. It give us a little back. What's Lando been up to? What's he doing? Is he still in Cloud City? What's he up to? So that'll be fun. And the biggest thing that people are talking about is at the end of the teaser trailer, you hear a laugh, an evil laugh, and it sounds a lot like the Emperor, Darth Sidious, but it could be Snoke. We don't know who it is. Only thing we know is that there's an evil laugh, and it sounds eerily familiar. Now, I know what you're thinking. How the hell are either of those two guys still alive? Because the last time we saw Sidious, he was being thrown by Darth Vader down a shaft that supposedly led into a reactor, so he should have died there. And the last time we saw Snoke, he was being cut in half by Kylo Ren with a lightsaber. So neither of those guys could have survived, right? Except there is precedent in the Star Wars universe that somebody could survive that. Actually, there's precedent that you can survive both things because, and this is now part of the lore, they've made it part of the Star Wars universe, or canon, as other people might say. But Darth Maul gets not only cut in half by Obi-Wan in Episode 1, he also falls down a shaft, a pretty deep one, into what looks like a reactor, and he survived. If you see the TV series Clone Wars, you can see him there, you can see his return, and he also makes a brief cameo in the new Solo movie. It's actually one of the few bright spots of that movie. But anyway, the point is, so there's precedent that either or both of those characters could have survived. If I had to guess, I'm going to say it's Sidious, only because during the teaser, you see the remnants of the Death Star. And so if the characters go into the Death Star and Sidious died in the Death Star, so maybe there's a chance it's a ghost. Maybe it's a chance that he survived. I don't know. But again, it raises questions. If he's been alive, what has he been doing for all this time? Is it that Snoke was so powerful that he actually scared the Emperor? I don't know. The point is, again, there's mystery out there, there's intrigue, there's things to look forward to, and I am excited again. I am going to be super optimistic about this movie. I want it to wrap up well. I want it to live up to the hype, live up to the legacy of Star Wars. I want it to close the Skywalker saga in a way that not only satisfies the fans, but that it's unique, that it's different. And I want JJ to show us what he can do. This is his time to shine. This is probably the biggest opportunity, not in his career, because he's had a big career so far, but as a fan, because you don't get into movies if you don't love movies. And Star Wars is one of the franchises he loves the most. So he's been given a dream opportunity for any fan, and I hope he knocks it out of the park. So, okay, that is my mostly positive take of the new Star Wars teaser. Let's move on to Game of Thrones. The first episode of the final season of Game of Thrones aired last night, and it was titled Winterfell. So it dealt mostly with the politics of the North, but we got a little bit of taste of what was going on in King's Landing. Now, fair warning, there might be some spoilers up ahead. I will try to avoid them as much as possible, but some things just can't be avoided all the time. And this is not an in-depth analysis. This is just going to be a quick little, mostly positive commentary. So I believe it's important to mention that I've already seen the episode twice. I have this tradition with a friend of mine who also read the book and who's also very frustrated with the direction the show has taken that we get together, we watch it once, we say nothing, then we discuss a little bit, and then we watch it again, and we just rip on it for fun. It's for our own health. So far, I believe it's working. Anyway, since I have been told that I can be a little hypercritical when it comes to things like movies and TV shows, particularly TV shows like Game of Thrones, I decided that I'm going to try a new segment here called The Good, the Bad, and the Martin. Now, the first two should be self-explanatory, but the Martin is, for those of you who don't know, the TV show is based off a series of books called A Song of Ice and Fire, written by George R. R. Martin. So, in this segment, I will be sharing a fun little fact from the books that will hopefully enhance your TV viewing experience. So let's start with the good. Right now, my favorite character on the show has to be Euron Greyjoy, played by a guy whose name I cannot pronounce, but I will butcher right now. Below Asbeck. Anyway, that guy. He's doing a fantastic job on screen, even though he's not given much to work with. And by that I mean that his storyline is kind of dumb. For example, his mission is just to bang Cersei, who, by this point, who hasn't? And to become the king of the Seven Kingdoms. But if that doesn't work out, he'll just leave. Which is, let's just say, it's not really Machiavellian enough for the character. Anyway, he's doing a fantastic job because every scene that he's in is interesting. Mainly because the guy's super unpredictable. You're never 100% sure what he's going to do, what he's going to say, and I love it. And like I said before, they don't give him much to work with, but when they give him a good line, he nails it. Like, in particular, I enjoyed the, "They were lesser men," from this episode. I thought it shows you how quickly he can change his personality and how dangerous he can be. I like it. Also, because he's evil, and I'm partial to, the villains. I think that they make a story better. And he's playing a PG version of the character. Like, in the books, he kind of rapes and tortures his brothers. And that barely makes it into his evil highlight reel. But anyway, I like his intensity. I love how he shines in every scene that he's in. So I am a big fan of Euron Greyjoy right now, which means that he's probably going to die in the next episode. Anyway, moving on to the bad. There were quite a few things I disliked, but I'll just focus on the most egregious one because this one slows down the plot unnecessarily. All the political conflict in Winterfell is stupid. Now, I never understood why Jon, instead of bending the knee, he didn't just offer to marry Daenerys. Davos clearly suggested it multiple times. So it's, okay, you were a king, and this is a queen, and Daenerys left her lover, Dario Naharis, behind in Meereen because she wanted to be available to marry somebody in Westeros for an alliance. So you have two kings, could have made an alliance, and that way all the drama of the North would be done. You could actually focus on the threat at hand. And also, you're kind of already banging. So I never understood why that was an issue. And it's just dumb. You have 6 episodes left, and you're burning screen time with unnecessary drama. It's 2 characters that like each other, that are attracted to each other, and that are on par with each other. At least they were title-wise at that point. And they have the same goal. We need to save the people of Westeros. And it would also be the solution to all their problems. Why aren't they getting married? And I get it. They want to save it till the end because you don't want to give it out to it. But wouldn't it be more interesting that they're, let's say, engaged? Let's say engaged. Why not? They're engaged. And then all of a sudden, Jon finds out that, oh my God, she's my aunt. And then, oh my God, I'm actually the real heir. Which, if you think about it, it's actually not that big of a deal because Targaryens ended up marrying their siblings or other relatives a lot, so it's kind of par for the course for them already. But it just keeps proving that any way you look at it, this is a non-issue, or it should be a non-issue. There's so much other stuff they could have focused on, and yet they did this. So, I don't know, to me it just seems like a simple fix, like a super simple fix that even Davos could think of it, and yet they aren't doing it because they want to prolong. What exactly? I don't get it. So that's not the most ridiculous example, but it's definitely the biggest one because it's a plot that so many of the characters are involved in, and I don't like it. But anyway, let's move on to the Martin. So here's a fun fact about George R. R. Martin's writing. And as I mentioned before, dude's kind of a cringy writer. So in his world of A Song of Ice and Fire or Game of Thrones, swords tend to be placeholders for masculinity or penises. There's plenty of examples of knights asking their ladies to kiss my sword, my lady, for luck. And it's kind of a way for them, get on their knees, submit, and kiss their sword. Yeah, but here's an even better example. It could not be more direct. This is Daenerys talking to a mercenary captain, and basically Daenerys just threatened to neuter him. Here it goes. Little girl, another woman once tried to gild me with her teeth. She has no teeth now, but my sword is as long and thick as ever. Shall I take it out and show you? So in the very same conversation, another mercenary afterwards says, you're worth fighting for. It is true. And I would gladly let you kiss my sword if I were free. So, I mean, it cannot get clearer than that. Anyway, the reason why I mentioned this little fun fact is, you remember the scene where Arya walks up to Jon and they kind of both take out their swords and, compare sizes? Yeah, that was a dick measuring contest. So from now on, whenever you see I was crying laughing when I saw that scene. From now on, whenever you see anybody pull out a sword and talk about it, that's what they're doing. They're talking about decks. And I was crying laughing when Arya said the whole when she was talking about Jon's sword and be like, that it's too heavy for me. You're welcome. You will not be able to unhear that. Anyway, that was it for this episode of SDW. Again, please follow me on Instagram at Dario the Show. I will be updating everything there if you want to contact me. Also, leave any comments, questions, suggestions, and let me know what you thought about this format. I would love to go off on this particular show a bit more, but I don't want to be too negative. But if you want me to, I might actually put out one day in particular, one day of the week where I could actually rip on something nice and good, like one of those when you really get after it. Because I have a lot to say, but I've been holding back, mainly because people always get annoyed when I do it because I ruin things for them. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Hit me up, and thank you for listening.